I see very strongly that he has access to a phone. Intuitively, I pick up that he has access to a phone and he's checking on social media. Oh my gosh, this guy. I don't know how he got it, but he's checking social media about different people. I think I just remembered now. He said that he knew one of the YouTubers. One of the YouTubers claimed, forgot her name and something. She's Korean, I believe, and she said that Diddy said he knows me. He mouthed out, "I know you," to her in court, is what she alleges. And I wouldn't be surprised with Page of Wands because he's keeping an eye on people's videos. I wouldn't be surprised if he watches this one, which whatever, it is what it is. But he's keeping an eye and he just wants to see his big Hi everyone, welcome back to No Life Tarot. My name is Hallie, so grateful to have you all. Let's get into this reading. I'm really excited to be doing this. I am doing a Diddy update. I haven't done one in a while. I think since May I haven't done one in a while. Since May I haven't done one. So June, July, August, September, October. So it's 5 months. Wow, since I did one. I was accurate. I recently watched his sentencing. Well, not the actual sentencing, but a video about it, and the judge sentenced him to 4 years. I was accurate. Go back and watch I think my second to last video I did on him. I said he's going to be sentenced 4 years. It might have been a live, but I said 4 years. And in the interim, I do see him marrying Karushe to get some kind of financial gain. I see that happening very strongly. So please make sure you subscribe, you comment, and you like the video. I do have some videos coming up. If you want to request a video and you're a member, I do automatically make it. Members, it is on the way. I have to have the energy for it and all that kind of stuff. So I promise you, there are 2 members that I promised videos. They are on the way, I promise. Okay, so let's get into this. I'm using the Crystal Magic Tarot. And it's almost 2 years later since Cassie filed her lawsuit. And I did say this before, I used to live in New York. I was born in New York and I lived there for a long time. So I consider myself a New Yorker because no matter where you go, anybody who knows this, if you've lived in New York for a long time, no matter where you go, it's always in your heart. And when I lived in New York, I worked at a hotel, and one of the security guards said that he saw Diddy, dragging Cassie by the hair, which is awful. And I would tell people the story. Number one, because people have asked me, why didn't the security guard do anything? And at that time, this was 2017. At that time, Diddy was the king of New York. You know, he could not do any wrong. He was seen as a good. If anybody said anything wrong about him or negative about him, they were taken out. You know, and I don't mean physically, or maybe physically sometimes, but people would come up with all kinds of ways to disprove that he was a bad person or he had done something wrong. And so I would tell people, you know, security guard told me. I believed the security guard. I believed him 100%. And people would ask me, well, why didn't the security guard do anything? And it's like, do you understand? People pay to get out of. There's so much corruption and levels of corruption in situations like that, that my suspicion was that he paid people off. And looks like, according to evidence that has come up to the trial, I was right. He paid his way basically through these through having any kind of charges brought up to him, which is very messed up, but you know, it is what it is. So I pulled the energy, his current energy, and then I pulled his future energy and what's coming, just like a prediction. And I find this whole Diddy thing very fascinating because some people are very pro Diddy and I just don't understand it. And they'll say, you know, he lived a bad lifestyle, he did some things wrong. Beating a woman is unacceptable. Beating anyone is unacceptable. And I don't understand how anyone can justify that kind of behavior. You know, for that alone, he should be in jail. But anyways, story for another day. So as I was shuffling the cards, I got the energy of like despair. The kind of energy of feeling alone, which I got the card 5 of Cups. 5 Cups symbolizes oftentimes when we need to sit with our emotions alone. They said the letter that he sent to the judge said that he had been sober. I don't believe that to be true. Just the energy that I pick up, I believe that he has been kind of misusing prescription pills, stuff like that. I don't believe that he's been completely sober. I think he might be like, oh, I have a pain here, and then he gets prescription pills, you know. These kind of people like him are menaces, and really it's very unfortunate, because I think when he was a kid, which hence his initial nickname, Puff, I think when he was a kid, he got away with temper tantrum and throwing temper tantrums. It's not cute when kids throw temper tantrums. It's not cute. And you know, when people are like, oh yeah, it's cute, it's when the kid is like throwing things, stuff like that, it's cute, it's fun. It's not, and it needs to be nipped in the bud. I don't have kids, but I know one day when I do, because I've been a kid too, and I've dated men with kids. One day when I do, obviously I will have to punish my children. And when the child, if my child, and who knows, things might change, but temper tantrums are just not cool, you know. They're just really, really not cool. So King of Coins and 9 of Swords. So he's coming up with a way to exploit. He might even write a book to exploit people that put him in this position. He might, like I said, write a book. Let's see, write some songs while he's in prison. He's always thinking about money. It's very sad. And he's always competing. I feel like his rival, 7 of Swords, is Jay-Z, and he feels like he has to compete with Jay-Z a lot. 2 of Swords, 2 of Wands, 9 of Cups. Yeah, so he's going to, I have predicted, like I said earlier in the video, I predict that he's going to marry Karrueche to get some kind of money. These lawsuits that have been filed against him are racking up, and he has no control over it, and that's what's driving him nuts. He has no control over his image, and he has no control over how much money people want to take from him, you know, and that's driving him absolutely insane. In fact, I believe, you know, I really believe he's a narcissist. Well, I don't want to use that terminology because I'm not, he's either psychopath, he's definitely got some antisocial disorder. But with that being said, one of the components of whatever he has, the personality disorder he has, is control. And him being in bars, I think that's what's despairing him so much. I don't think it's about his kids that he's upset. I don't think it's about anything else other than control. And he wants full control. He wants full control of his girlfriends. He wants full control of his money. He wants full control of his lawyers. I wouldn't be surprised if when he's alone with his lawyers, he tells them, listen, when I get out, if you don't do me right, when I get out, I'm gonna kill you. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he says stuff like that, because that's the energy that I get. He's very full of venom, very full of vengeance. And unfortunately, he is a Sun in Scorpio. Unfortunately, that is the shadow side of Sun and Scorpios. They can be very vengeful people, and sometimes it helps them, you know, it helps them become successful. But if you're going to be successful and nobody has deep respect for you, like they fear you, fear and respect do not go hand in hand. They're actually opposite each other. You do, I believe, have to have some level of fear for certain people, like authority, that kind of thing. But you can have respect without putting fear in people. And he's very used to, I used to work with somebody like this who was very, everything was about fear. If you don't do something, you're gonna get banished. If you don't do something, everything was down to fear. And that's when you attract people who are not genuine with their intentions for you, because the only people who can survive, it's like Hunger Games, the only people who can survive are people who have rigged the system, you know, or liars, because there's no real trust. So with Two of Swords, Two of Wands, and Knight of Cups, he's going to, oh my gosh, proclaim his love for Karrueche. I see Gina, who was one of the girlfriends, she's going to be upset about it. She's going to be like, oh, I wish he would have chose me. She's very stuck in his web, and I don't want to. People like Diddy are master manipulators. They're so good at manipulating you. Sometimes you're like, wait, what just happened, you know? So I don't want to shame Gina. Gina's the girlfriend who did the Tasha K interview in 2020 or 2019, and she was supposed to be one of the Jane Does in the trial. I just think with people like Gina, Cassie has a very strong support system. And, you know, I wrote on Cassie's social media, you know, not her social media, excuse me. I wrote a comment under a post about Cassie and her testifying that Alex Fine, her current husband, saved her. And I saw him write, he might have seen one of those comments. I'm not saying he did, but I think some other people had written that too. And he wrote, you know, people in his statement that he put out when Diddy was sentenced, or when Diddy was denied bail once it was decided that the guilty verdict. And he wrote, you know, basically in a nutshell, Cassie saved Cassie. And I disagree with that. I totally disagree with that, because it takes a system of support to make you leave a situation. I recently left a toxic situation, and I don't want to get too much into it, but it was supportive people that helped me leave, you know. And the support I've received after that has spoken volumes to me not going back, you know. And I really don't want to estimate support, because support is necessary to have. Yes, we need to all be brave when it comes to circumstances of leaving bad situations, but having support can save us. It really, really can. So I just want to reiterate that, because I feel like that's one of the things Gina didn't have. She didn't have support. So let's see here. Okay, so he's going to write. I see him writing a book and claiming that he's in love. The High Priestess, Ace of Swords, and the Tower. And he's going to admit, it's going to be kind of like a biography about his life. He's going to admit some shocking things about his sexuality, similar to Charlie Sheen, which we've all known, you know, that. And it's okay if you want to be gay, you know. I don't want to force people out of the closet, but it's also like, I don't know, it just seems so fake when it's written in a biography, when it's like, when it has money attached to it, you know. But anyways, so he's going to have an experience. He's going to say that I've had experiences with men. He's going to come forward about it, kind of like Clive Davis. And some of you have asked me to do a video about Clive Davis. I will soon. I think that the rabbit hole with him goes very deep, and I will very soon, I promise. I'm just kind of scared to do it on him. And he's a Capricorn, right? Interesting. So I see a book coming out. He's going to start planning it. We're going to hear about it in the next 3 months. That Diddy's writing a book about he's the Motown of hip hop, and he's been unjustly treated because he's black, and he's going to go on and on and on and on, and nobody in his close circle is going to defend him or be there for him, and that speaks volumes. Nobody in show business wrote a letter to the judge about him, a character letter. Nobody, none of his baby mothers wrote a letter, character witness. It was all his girlfriends who wrote letters, and childhood friends who were still in the hood. So found that very interesting, that people that aren't on his payroll didn't write any character letters, which I find very, very fascinating. So his future energy with 9 of Wands, the Fool, and the Hierophant. So he's going to come across, the Hierophant. He might have Taurus actually in his chart. His Mars might be in Taurus or Moon, Taurus Moon. But with the Death card, he's going to claim that he's changed, he's a new person. I did say I see him disappearing, and I still see that very strongly. This is intuitive based, it's not fact based. So sometimes I see things energetically, I pick up on them, but they aren't followed through because we have free will. I don't know how many times I say that sometimes in the comment section, which I don't really care about, but it's just like, come on guys, I do say it. So but anyways, so I do see here that he wants to plan this kind of new life. His new life is still, it might be in the public or might not be in the public, but he wants control. The thing is, I think what stopped him from running away, I think he has considered it. He even had a jet planned and everything. He was ready to go from Miami to a Caribbean island and just escape it all. What stopped him is being seen in the public as a god, and I think that's what has stopped him from disappearing, because he's like, at least if I'm still around, I have control over my image. He's big of his control of his image. He's big. He is so into how people see him, which is very narcissistic, which that might be the reason why I pick up a disappearance, but it might not happen. That will be what evades him or stops him from going through with it. Okay, so he has this Christina woman, and I'm gonna get to that because some people have said, oh, a charge is coming for Christina, KK, they called her in the trial. So he has this woman. They're communicating somehow. I don't think it's obvious. They might call one another. There is some communication. We're going to find that out. There is some communication between them. So with Page of Wands, Knight of Swords, and Seven of Cups. So I see very strongly that he has access to a phone. Intuitively, I pick up that he has access to a phone and he's checking on social media. Oh my gosh, this guy. I don't know how he got it, but he's checking social media about different people. I think I just remembered now, he said that he knew one of the YouTubers. One of the YouTubers claimed, forgot her name, and something. She's Korean, I believe, and she said that Diddy said he knows me. He mouthed out, "I know you," to her in court, is what she alleges. And I wouldn't be surprised with Page of Wands because he's keeping an eye on people's videos. I wouldn't be surprised if he watches this one, which whatever, it is what it is. But he's keeping an eye and he just wants to see. He's big on control of how he appears. Big on that. But he knows he's being watched. That's the only thing that stopped him from doing anything to people. He knows he's being watched. And I did say I see more charges coming. Go back and watch my Diddy playlist if it's your first time watching this. I've gone back and predicted a lot that has come true. Some of it I believe will still come true, like more charges, like other people being arrested too. I strongly believe that's going to happen. I get the number 8, so it could be in 8 months. But they're gathering, they're watching certain people and they're gathering certain people. King of Cups, the Moon, and Page of Swords. Because it's very rare. I don't want to get into the politics of it, but I don't think that the prosecutors did a good job. I really, really don't. And because they could have gotten him on so many other things, even on a state level they could have gotten him on things, but it is what it is. So King of Cups, the Moon, and Page of Swords. So he's going to put out this image. It's going to be very fake, phony. People are going to see right through it, but in his mind he's deceiving people. I think he's gotten to the point of so much delusion that he's not even, how do I say it, he's not even coherent at this point. I feel like he's not even there. He's just very I think that he's just so gone. He's like a walking demon, you know, where he's just lost. It's very sad. It's very, very sad. So let me pull up what's going to come next for the next charges that are going to come, because I strongly believe more charges are on the way, and I get in 8 months. So I'm doing this in October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So next June, by next June, we will have possibly even another trial. Okay, so the charges are going to be related to former employees. I did pick this up before, but I thought it would be a lawsuit. But I picked this up before, that former employees, Page of Cups and the Hierophant, are going to Aubrey O'Day, Q. They're going to come forward with some information about not an enterprise. It's not going to be related to an enterprise, but it's going to be some kind of drugging, that kind of thing going on. Hope YouTube doesn't demonetize this video. I'll suppress it. Please make sure you like and you share it so it's like it doesn't get suppressed. And say that there were promised things that they didn't deliver, that weren't delivered on. I see Aubrey O'Day being very strong, a strong presence in this. Six of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, and Ace of Cups. So I feel like the reason why some of the former artists have not come out and said anything is because they were complicit too. You know, that's what they say about if you do something wrong. I remember this story, actually. I was remembering this story the other day, and because I've been doing a lot of healing, you know, and just looking back on past situations about guilt. And when I was a kid, I had to do this test. I was sick during class, so I had to do a test after class. And so one of my peers gave me the answers, and I didn't want them. I was like, I don't want the answers, but she was like, no, you'll be fine. She gave me all the answers. I was in the library doing it, and I remember this so specifically. So I got like almost 100 on the test. So the teacher was like, somebody gave you the answers, because how can you? I wasn't the most learned in school. I had a lot of family stuff going on, so it made me have issues in school. So I was mostly like a B/C student, B at best. So the teacher was like, how are you a C student and you almost got 100% on this? And it was not an easy test. And I was like, oh no, I just studied really hard. And she was like, you did? You studied? And then I think that a camera saw the girl talking to me or something like that. So they found out that girl, so they came to me and they were like, you know, she does this a lot where she'll give people answers and then she comes back, she asks for money. And they were like, did she ask you for money? And I felt so guilty telling about her, because she helped me with the test, even though I didn't want her to help me. And it was just so funny how I felt so guilty. It just reminded me of that. So I'm telling you that story because a lot of the artists that Diddy did suspicious and dubious activities with, they don't want to come forward because they don't understand that they were manipulated into doing them, you know. And even the public doesn't understand. They still think that Cassie is complicit when she wasn't. She was pulled in, you know. She was, number one, his employee. Number two, she was very young. She wasn't his co-conspirator, she was his victim. It's very, very clear. But if you have been psychologically warped and you've been when you've fallen into a web of deception of these type of narcissistic people, you feel so much guilt that you're like, wait, I did something wrong too, so I can't say anything because I'm going down too. Like, this person was helping me, you know, when they weren't. They just needed an accomplice to make themselves, number one, not feel guilty, and number two, they needed you to feel like you had their back. You know how they say there is no honor amongst thieves. So with Six of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, and Eight of Cups, he's going to say that this is what a lot of them need to be. That's the thing about Aubrey. She never did any of that stuff. That's why she's okay speaking out. But there are other artists who did. There are other artists who, but they don't understand psychologically that they, and I believe Mace is one of them, who was his former artist in the early 90s, or late 90s, excuse me, that they were coerced. He knew what he was doing by giving them substances, by luring them with sexual activities. And they haven't even had the time to heal it. They don't understand that they were being manipulated too, you know? Because they feel like, oh, well, that part of me wanted to do it. But manipulation is so strong with people like that, that you are seduced into it, you know, without your full coherence or knowledge that you want to do it. So it's going to be Aubrey. I feel like she has already, and I said this before, she's going to be the one that's going to convince a lot of the other she's going to convince a lot of the other people, a lot of the former artists, that no, you were coerced. She's very eloquent. I don't like her when she goes on about politics. I don't like that. But Aubrey O'Day makes me proud to be an Aquarius, a fellow Aquarius. I think she is phenomenal, and I am a huge supporter of her. I think she's done, I'm getting goosebumps even saying that, because I really am rooting for her. And she has always said from day one, she stuck to the same story. And that's, as a fellow Sun and Aquarius, sometimes I had to realize that about myself, is that sometimes we have to call out the BS and stand alone in it, and then one day people will realize. But it takes a lot of years for people to realize that not only that we were right, because that's not the point of it, but our intentions were pure, you know. I think a lot of Aquarius, we get a bad rap for that. So 5 coins, 8 of swords, and 5 cups. So then the true healing is going to begin. There's going to be, I think, about 40 artists that are going to tell their story. There's more coming, and then other people are going to get charged. But as much as people don't agree with the head prosecutor being fired, she had to get fired. And I don't want to bring politics into it, because if you followed my personal life, I think both sides are very effed up. But I will say this, she was in the way. She was strongly in the way of getting to the root. I wonder when her birthday is. I feel like she's a Libra. My favorite. But she was in the way. Maureen Comey was in the way. Now that she's out of the way, they're very layered. I see lots of layers being revealed, and lots of hurt being revealed. Man, this man is a menace. It's heavy. The energy I got was just very, very heavy, very sad. So that's what I see happening moving forward. Let me see about his grown kids, because I don't read about kids under 18. Let me see about those sons. What's going to happen with them? Okay, so one of them is going to get married, and he's going to step away. I see that being, I always forget their names. One of them is going to get married and step away big time. He's not going to have anything to do with the family. I think that actually might be Justin, the one that looks most like him. With 8 of coins and 3 of cups. Then the other 2 are going to keep the family very tied together. I wouldn't be surprised if charges are brought up against the other 2. Justin comes across like he is the biggest menace, or the one that I'm picking up on. There's one of the sons that is actually very calm. He doesn't get involved in this kind of stuff, and he's going to start to see things like, wow, my dad did that, man. and he's going to pull away a lot. Six of Coins, he's going to kind of live a different life. He might even become religious and become a pastor, but it's going to be like, we're going to hear about, in April of next year, we're going to hear about him disappearing. He's going to get married and live a very different lifestyle to his father, and he's going to not be happy. He's going to have a lot of revelations about his father. Three of Swords, Wheel of Fortune straight, especially because the money is going to start to run dry. And when he sees what Karuche does with his father, it's going to put a bad taste in his mouth. And he's going to say to himself, this is not, I wasn't promised this. Like, I think that Diddy made a lot of promises to his kids. Some of them he didn't follow through, and he blamed other people about it. But he's going to see for himself, like, okay, this is, wow. You know, I often describe it, I love The Truman Show. I think it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Jim Carrey as an actor. I think he's one of my favorite actors too. And something about The Truman Show, I just recently watched a clip of it. I'm going to watch it probably tonight. But when you start to realize that your parents were human, especially if you grew up with a manipulative parent, you know, you start to see certain things and you're like, this isn't true, you know. And you see, like, they might lie to you and you're like, no, that's not true, you know. But it's always in the back of your head. You see something else, no, that can't be true, they wouldn't do that to me. Say in the back of your head. It's a similar dynamic of being in a relationship with somebody who's deceptive and doesn't come forward with the truth. You know, those types of things, especially with the Strength card, he's going to, like in the Truman Show, break away from the matrix. And we all have it. We all have the matrix of our families, our schools, our schooling system, our culture, that we have to break away from in order to truly heal. Otherwise we won't. And it's not a thing bad. You can have some of the best parents ever and still be in a bubble of a life that you don't want, you know, and you have to break away from that. So he's going to start, and I'm not saying he did, because I feel like Diddy's not the best parent, but the fact that he made his kids listen to speaking about orgies and stuff like that is crazy to me. But he's going to start to see things, and you know, in the beginning you don't want to accept that your parents have shortcomings. You really don't, when you're a kid going into early adulthood and even as an adult, because you see them as perfect, you know. And then when certain things happen, watch The Truman Show, it's such a good movie, and you just see that all of it is a facade, and really you have to just be true to yourself, you know, and follow your true path. And I think one of Diddy's children is going to do that. I see it being Justin. It could be one of the other two, but I see it being Justin because he looks like him, and I see him marrying like a lighter woman, and really being happy. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys. Please let me know if you have any questions below, any suggestions. I do make member suggestions, like I did say before, and I do have a great membership actually up right now, so check out the membership tab. And I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.